Yo, what is up, YouTube? I wanted to make an interesting video today going over the topic of scriptless versus selling with the script in high ticket sales specifically. Obviously, in other industries like car sales, insurance sales, there's all sorts of different sales out there. I feel like nowadays, a lot of people are always looking for that perfect script slash that perfect framework. And up until about a month ago, I've actually been using scriptless selling. So basically, I don't have any sort of specific framework or word for word, bar for bar, track for track that I use on my closing at the moment. Um, Going over scriptless versus script. So first off, if you guys don't know what scriptless versus script selling is, script selling is basically you have this framework, you say this question after that question after that question, no matter what response the prospect gives you. Yes, you might probe a little bit, but you're gonna overall move around to the next question. And scriptless selling is more freestyling. And for me personally, the top two guys I've kind of learned from the most would probably be like guys that I try to implement my game after. As of right now, would be Josh Lyons, which he preaches scriptless selling, and guys who do script selling slash framework selling, or people who kind of rely on objection handling would be people who do NEPQ, people who kind of have their own framework going on for them. Um, from January up until about last month, I've been doing like script slash framework selling. So I would go from just a typical normal discovery, nothing crazy deep, to pre-handling objections, right into ideal criteria, like what does the prospect ultimately need to be successful, and then after that I would go into future pacing, cost of inaction, pitching, and then objection handling. And one thing I noticed is that at the end of the day, man, no matter which way you want to put it, if you do like a great job in your discovery as a closer, you're not gonna get any objections at the end of the day. And this was a limiting belief that I had to eventually break. I still haven't broken it to this day. I'm still working on that. It's probably gonna take a few more months, maybe a little bit less than that, hopefully, to actually fully break that limiting belief. And the reason it was so hard for me to break this limiting belief is because I've been getting objections like my whole sales life. Now, I'm not saying once you get into scriptless selling, you're just going to stop randomly getting objections. Like, that's not the case. They're still going to pop up here and there. But 80 to 90% of your sale is made in the discovery. And I realized that if I stop putting so much focus and energy and time into learning all these fancy analogies and word tracks and just going through the framework and just sounding like a robot almost sometimes, and almost getting bored at asking the same questions to every prospect on every single call, not only do I stop like attentively listening to the prospect, which isn't good at all for the prospect or yourself as a salesman, but if I'm able to shorten my call time by 10, 15, 20, even up to 30 minutes, because I'm not having to go through all these fancy objection lines and word tracks at the end of the call. And I just put all that time and energy I'm putting into studying objection handling into the discovery. Not only am I going to be a lot more effective, but I'm going to be a lot more efficient as well. And those are the top two things that kind of separate the top 0.01% of closers versus everybody else. Now, going from script to scriptless selling hasn't been the easiest thing. I would lie to you guys if I told you that it hasn't taken a toll on my close rate. Like right now, for one of the offers I'm closing for, I'm at about 44% close rate, and I was averaging anywhere from about 50 to 60% close rate. So my close rate did drop anywhere from 5 to 15%. And another offer, it dropped probably, I'd say maybe like 10 to 15%. So overall across the board, it did drop about 10%. It could have dropped a lot worse, but I feel like since I have been putting a decent amount of time into learning how scriptless selling works, it didn't drop that much. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, scriptless selling, there's no right or wrong way to sell. To determine whether you want to do scriptless selling versus script selling comes down to one question, in my opinion, and one question only. do you want to always have to objection handle at the end of most of your calls? Okay. If it's a yes, then obviously you could do NEPQ, you could do your own frameworks, you could learn all these fancy analogies and word tracks. I mean, if that works for you, great, that works for you. But there was something in my mind about scriptless song where I'm like, man, if I'm a prospect and I'm hopping on a call with a salesperson, right? We go through a whole 45-minute call. They pitch me the program, they pitch me the price. I start giving these objections to them, and they spend another 5, 10, 15, 20, sometimes even up to 30 minutes. I've heard people even objection handle for an hour, trying to reshape my way of thinking using all these fancy analogies to get me to buy a program. Like, it doesn't get any more salesy than that if you put it from that perspective of like, oh, I'm the prospect now. Like, bro, I don't want to buy from someone that's trying to objection handle me for like 5, 10, 15, up to 30 minutes to an hour on top of however many calls they have lined up that day. You know what I mean? And that's something I had to, it was a super hard pill to swallow at first. And it was scary too, because I was like, in the back of my mind, I knew, I was like, man, I'm gonna lose some commissions. I'm gonna lose some sales because I'm transitioning, and it's not the easiest thing to transition because it's two completely different levels of selling. And if I could tell you guys, if you guys are like just now closing, definitely 100%, I recommend personally going for scriptless selling. And a guy I don't learn from like personally, like I'm not in his program or anything, but a key guy that I learned from most of my stuff, almost all my stuff basically, is called Josh Lyons. He's done several 6 figures a month in commissions as a high ticket closer. And one of the biggest things he talks about is scriptless selling, internal mastery, and some other stuff in terms of like your pre-call checklist and things of that nature. It's still something I'm having to adjust to. Don't get me wrong, there's certain questions that I kind of answer, I kind of still ask on my closing calls that I still use from NEPQ, such as like some of the pre-handling stuff, because the pre-handling stuff is pretty solid. But like for the most part, it's really just like discovery, ideal criteria, and then you get into pitching. You know what I mean? If you guys have any questions about scriptless selling in general, feel free to shoot me a text on Instagram. I could definitely kind of walk you guys through my experience with scriptless selling and the type of questions I usually ask on with scriptless selling in general. But it has allowed me to be a lot more attentively focused on my prospects in general. And your focus needs to be on the prospect, and your prospects need to be able to identify that so that they separate you from all the other salespeople. Because you could be selling a $500 product, or you could be selling a $50,000 product. And if you dig into the prospect's pain enough, and the most important part is like you get to the truth, regardless of they buy the program or not, they're gonna end up closing at the end of the day. No matter if it's today, no matter if it's tomorrow or the day after. And another question I forgot to mention to you guys as well, that kind of determines if you want to do scriptless versus script selling, is, do you believe in follow-up at the end of the day? If you guys don't know what following up with prospects means, basically like you guys don't close them on the same day call. Oh, I'm going to follow up with you tomorrow, next week, next month, whatever the case may be. Me personally, and I think all of us could agree to this as salespeople, follow-up prospects usually end up closing less than 5% of the time, if we're being realistic. So I don't do follow-up anymore, and it's actually pressured me into focusing more on my discovery, because I know that's going to make or break the sell. So me personally, yeah, I just don't believe in follow-up. I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and chase a prospect every single day until they end up buying. That's just not something I believe in. You have one opportunity to close this guy or woman on the call, and if you can't do it on the call after 45 minutes or an hour of talking with them, you're not going to do it a week from now, a month from now. The only objection that should come up at the end should be a logistical and just making it work for them financially at the end of the day. So as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm still on the learning curve with it. There's actually been a bunch of stuff I've actually been learning from scriptless on that I would love to share with you guys on future videos, but I just wanted to make a video on the idea of scriptless selling versus just script selling, script/framework selling, whatever you want to call it personally. Basically, I'm going to ask these questions regardless. regardless of what the prospect tells me, I'm just gonna move on to the next question, which I personally don't like because you really just like being around the bush with prospects, and the more you beat around the bush with prospects, as in you're not getting to the direct truth, just psychologically in the prospect's mind, it might not seem like it while you're on the call, but you're actually slowly starting to lose trust with the prospect. And every time you be around the bush by going script selling versus scriptless selling, you're building a gap further away from actually closing the deal, whether you like it or not. So I'm not telling you guys how you guys should close at the end of the day. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update of where I'm at right now in terms of sales. Last month I was able to hit my first 10K month profit in high ticket sales, so I was super happy to be able to achieve that. This month we'll probably finish the month off at like somewhere between like 7 and 9K, depending on how today finishes up. Today is June 30th, so I got a few deals coming in today, and I got a few more calls lined up as well. But so far up $125 on the day, but still got a few more calls lined up later this evening. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys in terms of that. I have super big plans with some of the guys I'm working with for July. We're launching this super big creator, really shooting for 7 figures in July in terms of cash collected from this creator, because he's never had a high ticket program. If you guys are a killer setter and are looking for a full-time offer, you guys could send me over your guys' Loom on Instagram. I'll pop up my Instagram handle right here for you guys, so you guys could go check that out, and I'll hit you guys up if you guys seem valid and seem hungry and driven and looking for like a full-time offer to really boost your sales experience. And not just your sales experience, it's a huge opportunity for everybody. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know if you guys need any questions, and drop in the comments too what type of videos you guys want to see, because I made this YouTube video for myself to look back on when I'm making 6 figures a month, but I also want you guys to gain a lot of value and understanding out of this YouTube channel. So feel free to drop a comment with anything you guys want covering, closing stuff, saying stuff. You guys need job opportunities, let me know so I can help you guys all out. But yeah, super excited for everything in the future, and I'll keep you guys posted on how July goes.